Hey everybody, welcome back to the Let's Code series. Today I wanted to take just a quick look at spinning up a version of our website that's hosted and live and we can access on a whole bunch of multiple devices. Our website isn't anywhere close to done, but it's to a point that it makes sense to have it hosted somewhere. So we're not gonna talk too extensively about, picking a very specific host or anything. I just want something that's sort of quick and dirty so that we can get a live version of our site to mess around with. And the best solution that I have found for this is something called GitHub Pages. Of course, GitHub's like a huge website where a whole bunch of programmers and developers and every kind of technology person shares the code for their sites, and it's a great place to host apps so that people can download them and get more information about them and all sorts of things. But GitHub has this really great feature that allows you to basically spin up a website based on a GitHub repository. It's super easy, and the great thing about it is that since it's based on a GitHub repository, all you have to do to make changes to your site is push those changes. That's incredibly easy, and I've found it to be like the best possible way to just spin up a quick website to do some testing. There's a few different ways that you can use this, but what I'm going to take a look at is just setting up a user site for a GitHub repository. So what I have here, of course, is a version of my personal website in its current form. And all I need to do is turn this into a GitHub repository, and then we can start publishing our site. It seems like I'm skipping over some stuff, but it really is that simple. So I've made a second GitHub account just for a second, and we'll go ahead and get started here. So there's a few different ways to do this. You can work with Git on the command line. There's a few different GUI apps. If you're on a Mac or a PC or Linux or anything, I think GitHub has an app that's available on all of those platforms. It's called GitHub Desktop. It's pretty good, and it allows you to work with Git without having to get too much into the nitty-gritty on the command line. There's a very low barrier to entry, so if you've never used Git or version control before, this is the way I would recommend going. So when we have GitHub Desktop open, all you need to do is create an account on GitHub and then sign into that account here. And what we want to do is we want to add an existing repository from a hard drive. Now in this case, the current version of my site, I've just dropped it right onto the desktop. This is probably a pretty bad idea, but this is just an example, so don't go too crazy in the comments. But I have a version just called site. And what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to rename this to be my GitHub username.github.io. That's what the address will look like. If you're interested, I have a current version of my site at maxccr.github.io. That's my current username. This is the site as it is right now, and this will be exactly the kind of thing that we're going to spin up today. Now, the username for this account here is maxccrbeta. So all I'm going to do is I'm going to rename this my username, and then I'll call it github.io. So username.github.io. That's the formula you want. Name the directory that. Then what I'll do is I'll come back over here to the GitHub desktop app. And again, I'm just basing this on a site that's already in existence. If you're starting fresh, feel free to start a new repository. This is fairly self-explanatory. All I'm going to do is navigate to that folder. So I'll come to the desktop, select the folder, hit open. And then we can go ahead and hit add repository. And now you can see our repository is loaded up here. We're on the master branch. Everything's good. If we were to make any changes, so let me just open up a folder here where we can make a few changes. We'll just hide some of this stuff here. If I go over to the desktop here and hop into that site for a sec, I'll just go into my index.html file, and I'll probably delete this little message here. Don't want to get too crazy. And then if we hop back over to GitHub Desktop, you can see now it noticed there's some changes. We can add a quick little message and say, hey, removing some stuff, and then commit it to master. And we're good to go again. So what we'll go ahead and do is we'll go ahead and just publish the repository. It's going to ask us to make sure that the name is right. Make sure you're on the standard GitHub server. You can add a description if you want to. You can keep it private. I'll just make it public. It's not really a big deal. And this will take a second to load because it's going to be pushing all of those changes and publishing to our site. So now let's hop back over to a browser here. That's not it. And we'll just go to GitHub, and I guess I'll just refresh the page. If I come to my user account and click on repositories, I should have a new repository here just called maxccrbeta. All of our files are up here now. And now if I go ahead and go to maxccrbeta.github.io It might take a second to load, but no, it doesn't. We are in immediately. Now we have a nice, simple version of our website that's spun up. You can access this on mobile. You can access this across anywhere. I mean, it's a website. You can access it anywhere you want. Bug test it on a whole bunch of different browsers, a whole bunch of different devices, and you're good to go. But thank you everyone for checking out this video. I think it might be the shortest one in the series so far. So hope you enjoyed it. Hope you learned something. See you in the next one.